So we've changed things up a little bit. That's why I'm just checking if everything is set to the right position. Yes, also one fit. Hello, big welcome to you. The pose that we'll do today, that we're going to break down, is fish pose, Matsyasana. It's a front body opening, and it stretches the hip flexors, the belly, the intercostals, but also the throat area. It can also relieve tension in your neck and your shoulders, also the pectoral muscles, and it also helps you to strengthen the upper back and neck. So in order to get into the position, it would be nice if you have two blocks that you see behind me. A yoga mat. And we do a little quick warm-up. Let's do some cat-cows. Yeah? So just come to hands and knees. And do some cat-cowing. And that is demoing that knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. And then as you inhale, soften the belly, open the heart. So you kind of squeeze the shoulder blades to open through the collarbones. And then as you exhale, draw the belly into the spine. Press the floor away, tailbone points down. Couple more. Inhale, open up. Exhale, rounding. That's it. Inhale, open up. And then exhale to round. Good. Coming back to neutral and then sitting onto your heels. So you're coming into Hero Virasana. And some people already feel something going on into the thighs, into the quads. Some people don't. If you do, you might not want to go further back. But if you can, you could consider to bring the knees a bit wider, to spread your feet a little wider, and to sit in between your feet. And then you might even feel a bit more. And if not, there should be no pain in your knees, by the way. If there is, back off. But if you're good, you can bring the hands behind and you start to lean back. And the more you start to lean back, the more stretch you will start to feel into the quads, into the thighs. Yeah? So Annette is demoing that she can go to the elbows. You can do that. Some people can also come all the way down, but then you would want to keep your knees down onto the floor as well. So just to give you an idea. Yeah? And then from here, we're going to come out and up. So use the elbows again, and then walk your hands forward back to tabletop position. Good. And then from the tabletop position, just find your hips back and up into a downward facing dog for now. So you can just stretch out through the backs of the legs for a moment. Pedal it out. 1, 2, 3. Not too long. There we go. And then ripple all the way forwards into a high push-up position. And we're going to lower all the way to the floor. So feel free to release the knees first. And then bring the belly down. Yeah? Pointing the toes back, as you see Annette is doing. And then from there, we're going to bring the hands a little wider than the shoulders. That's it. And the elbows can still be lifted. But as we're going to lift up through the chest, we're going to keep the shoulder heads lifted, the collarbones broad, so into a cobra. So lifting it up. Good. Doesn't have to be a super high one, and that has a lot of space, and she's really warm after our previous class. And then as you exhale, you can lower back down into the floor. Now, if that was too much, you can always bring the hands a little bit more forward, or forward. This is forward. Yeah. So you show them that's a less deep version. Yeah. And if that is okay, you can walk the hands in a bit more, of course. And you go, yeah, there you go. That's it. Nice. So that stretches through the front also. And then lower down onto the belly. Good. Now from here, press the floor away, back to hands and knees. And we're going to turn around like a pancake, just flip. So you will be on this side where the blocks are. Feet to the other side. Voeten naar de achterkant van je mat, de andere kant. Maar je hoofd hier, maar dan op je rug. Fish. The flipping like a pancake, obviously you have to eat more pancakes, dear. Okay, and then you start to come onto the back. of course, to get into the position, I was just checking, yeah, so I'm going to show you a couple of things. You can lie down, but you can also come from Dandasana, which is a seated pose, so your upper body will be upright. And what we'll do in fish, we're going to use our elbows, like what she did when she was in Hero. But before we're going to get there, I'm going to show you if you're going to use blocks underneath the head or even between the shoulder blades. So there's one block that comes along the spine and then in between the shoulder blades. Yeah? So that one I'm going to place onto the floor. If you want, you can always bring it to a lower position. Yeah? What do you want? Lower or medium? And then the other one will be like a T with the other block for the head. So sometimes you have to look a little bit, where do I have to place it? Yes. And then you let the head fall. So that's onto the block. Now, how did she get there? Was that obvious? Maybe not so much. How did she get there? So, of course, you have to come up to use your blocks. But when we're using the elbows, the hands are usually coming underneath your butt cheeks. So you start to wiggle the hips from side to side, bringing the elbows down first. Yeah, so there's no block, indeed. Press into the elbows to lift up through your chest, this area, the collarbone's broad. And then we have already placed the block. It's there. You can let the head lower. Good. You can bring it. Oh, it's already high. It's a medium. It's not the highest, but it would be quite high. Yeah? So Annette doesn't need to use the blocks, but it's a little bit more restorative. Shall I take the block away for you? Just lift a bit. Yeah. And then without blocks, it looks like this. So she's pressing the elbows, but she is sliding the butt cheeks a little bit more into the direction of the top of the mat, onto the palms, in order to bring the crown of the head further down. This is light. There's not too much weight into the crown of the head. And it's just touching. And if you have any neck injuries, you might not want to even touch it at all. Or you're going to use the block for support, as we showed you earlier. So that is behind the heart and in between the shoulder blades. So feeling this stretch into the abdominal wall, the chest, the rib cage, but also your throat area. So it stimulates the thyroid gland. And it's a beautiful pose to do after a shoulder stand, because a shoulder stand you have the throat compressed, and this is balancing things out again. Now, a fish pose can also lead into further back bends, bridge and wheel. We're not going to do that, just to give you an idea. What I normally do when I'm teaching a class and I'm doing fish pose, I'm coming out and there's not much I'm doing. I'm using my elbows pressing down to lift the head, chin to chest, lower onto the floor, wiggle the hips from side to side to release your hands one by one. Spread the arms a little wider. And just notice if the body wants anything. You might just be ready for Shavasana, and that is totally fine, right? Some people like to draw the knees into the chest and to curl up like a little ball, doing a bit of a massage on the lower back region. So that's totally up to you. Yeah, just Annette is demoing that, thanks. And it can give you a safe feeling. This is how we are in a womb, like curled up, closing the front. And I'm letting go, and I'm stretching your legs all the way out. So as said, it can help you to open up through the front body to prepare for bigger back bends. But it can also be part of the closing sequence after the shoulder stand to balancing things out. So, just a little recap, what is important when you are coming into fish pose? You kind of draw the shoulder blades into the rib cage, into the back of the body to open up through the heart. And then you draw the belly towards the feet. And you take a couple of breaths in fish to feel And if you feel that it gets easier over time, yes, that is very possible. Because sometimes when we show a vulnerable front side of the body, yeah, we feel emotional, right? Especially if you're staying into the poses a little bit longer. So just noticing how you're feeling, and then take as much time as you want. Thank you for sharing your practice and love for yoga. Thank you, Annette, for demoing. Have a very nice day. Hope to see you soon. Namaste.